Okay, so I'm going to be making biscuits and gravy this morning. This is just a roll of that Jimmy Dean sausage. I took it out and then I'm just scrambling it up like hamburger. I have some biscuits in the oven and I'll be back to show you how to do the gravy. These are my biscuits out of the oven. I like them nice and brown. This is the pan that I cooked my sausage in. I also made some bacon, and this is I separated out the sausage into the pan and then part in the bowl because I'm not going to use it all. This is really bad for you. I don't recommend eating this all the time, but I'm going to use a little tiny bit of the bacon grease, not a lot of it. Hold on. My grandma would have used all bacon grease, but I'm going to add, hold on just a sec. Let me turn this around so you can see it. I'm going to add some canola oil. Okay. This is really, okay. So that's about how much oil and grease that I have in my pan. So the reason I don't use all bacon grease is because bacon grease is really, really bad and hardens your arteries, but it does give it flavor. So that's why I use more canola oil, because canola oil, even in the fridge, is not going to harden. And that's a teller of saturated fats. So that's why I use a lot of canola oil. Oh, sorry about that. So you have to get your grease hot, okay? I have it on high right now. And then what I'm adding is flour. This is just plain flour into your oil. What you're creating right now is called a roux, okay? And it takes quite a bit. This is a couple real heaping tablespoons of flour that I'm using. So then you're frying this flour, and all that's in here is a little bit of the sausage oil, or sausage grease, I guess, bacon grease, and mostly canola oil for the less saturated fat of it. But you're going to cook this, and it's going to get like this. And what you want to do is you want to fry this flour until it starts to brown. Literally, the flour will start to get brown, and that's where it starts to get its flavor. Our roux is starting to get brown, and if you don't watch it, that'll turn black real quick. So you have to really watch it and just make sure you're getting it a nice brown color, not black. You can kind of see it getting brown around the edges there. This is our roux. Okay, so I'm going to try and do this one-handed, which is hard, but anyway, you start to add your milk. I've got 2 cups of milk here. I'm not sure that I'll add all of that, but I'm going to add that much for now. Then I have a whisk thingy, because you don't want lumpy gravy. That's not fun. So I use a whisk, and I just start whisking that milk in, and you'll see it start to thicken. Okay, this is going to get too thick. I can already tell. I've been making this a long time. So adding my more milk to it, okay. I've put almost 2 full cups of milk into this roux that I made. There's a lot you can do with a roux. A roux is just basically browned flour, and you can season that as you're making the roux. That is totally fine. I don't season my roux right away because I tend to season the food that I'm using the roux for. Okay, so anyway, so here's our gravy. And hold on, I'll be right back. Okay, so to be honest, I don't like to use a whole lot of seasoning in my gravy, but I am going to use some salt, because it definitely needs salt. As you guys know, flour is pretty darn bland. Okay, I use the salt, but I also am going to use pepper. I love pepper in my gravy, and I use a good amount. Again, this is for biscuits and gravy, so yeah. All right, so that's looking really nice and smooth. Yeah. I have the temperature on a fairly low heat, okay, because I don't want this thickening too fast. You can always add more milk if you need to. Now I'm going to add my sausage to it. There we go. Okay. So this is basically a sausage gravy, homemade sausage gravy made out of a roux. There we go. And you'll notice it's not a real white color. I can't stand gravies that are white because that means that they have not used a roux that was browned to make that gravy. they've thickened it with just plain white flour or cornstarch, which is nasty. The roux tastes much better. So anyway, there's our gravy. I'm going to make some eggs, and I'll be right back and put it together on a plate for you. I am making scrambled eggs, and I just crack the eggs and, of course, scramble them in a bowl. Then I add a little bit of milk to them with some salt. I won't put any pepper in these. If you want to pepper them, you can. I have pepper on my gravy, which for me will be enough gravy. My husband will probably add more, though. You can see how fluffy these eggs are by adding milk to your scrambled eggs. They get really fluffy. Okay, so this is my plate here. I had to loosen up the gravy just a little because it sat and it got pretty stiff. Okay, so I sliced my biscuit because I like it sliced. And I like gravy on my eggs as well. That's why I don't put a lot of pepper on the eggs when I'm cooking them. Okay. You can have as much gravy as you want. I don't like too terribly much. It's not the most healthy meal, but it does taste good. So anyway, there's your biscuits and gravy with scrambled eggs and bacon.